You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. This week, we're talking to Anthony Johnson, who's getting ready to face off against Mike Kyle, World Series of Fighting number 8, January 18th. Actually, right down the street from where you are right now in Boca Raton, Florida, just down there in Hollywood, Florida. So, is it going to be a local fight for you? Is it enough friends and family going to drive down for this one?
Yeah, my half of my family's here anyway. You know, I'm originally from Georgia, so half of my family's here. My aunt lives here. She lives like 10 minutes from me. Okay. My grandmother's coming down, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Is that what made a choice for Blackzilians so easy for you? Is because most of your family's already there anyway? It was really close?
It was never about how close I was going to be to my family. It was honestly about starting over and figuring out who I really am as a person and as a fighter.
So the bonus was having your aunt close by and your family close by. That was just the bonus of being at Blackzilians.
Yeah, it definitely is a bonus for me. It's definitely a bonus for me because if you know, for instance, if I truly need anything, she's right there for me.
Now, I'm looking at your bio, talking about trying to find out the man you are. You used to fight at 170 and had problems making weight. It says you're weighing about 230 right now. Is that still the weight you're at right now? You're a little bit bigger because you look a little bit bigger.
I'm 250. I'm 221 right now.
I mean, you're carrying 221, but it looks like 240. I mean, you honestly look like you put 10 more pounds on, even though you're in better shape.
It's just my frame, I guess. I mean, I've been training with Jake Bonacci.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know Jake real well. Jake was my strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Left us to go to you guys.
Yeah, Jake is awesome. So he's did an excellent job with us, and he's worked my body to what it is right now, and I couldn't thank him enough for getting me where I am, you know what I mean? And he's definitely pushing me when it comes down to strength and conditioning.
Now, with Jake Bonacci running your strength and conditioning, Kenny Monday's running the wrestling, who's handling your boxing and stand-up?
Henry Hoof. Our regular Dutch kickboxing coach, he's doing this thing. To me, it's amazing how Henry went from straight traditional Dutch-style kickboxing to MMA, and his style works. It works with us very well.
You know, how much of a transition do you think it was for Henry? Because I knew him before he jumped into MMA, and I didn't think it was going to work well for him coming to Blackzilians, but it's been amazing since he's been down there. His style has changed a lot. From what he actually does himself to what he actually teaches you guys are two different things. Like, he really paid attention to how the things need to be. Is it been a process with him as one of his athletes, or from the very beginning when you first started working out with him, you knew that he was going to be the guy that was going to be able to help you get better at stand-up for MMA?
Well, you know, after working with Tyrone, we just knew what we wanted. It was like I worked out with Tyrone one day, and then after just that one day, everybody in the gym was like, "Hey, who is your trainer?" And he told Henry, and Henry came down, and we tested him out. And it seemed like within just that first workout with Henry, we knew that's what we wanted. And, you know, just from us all having experience in the game already, we knew how to adjust to whatever he was teaching us. But Henry has taken the time to learn the sport of MMA too. He knows that, you know, you got to have distance. You just can't be, you know, a kickboxer during an MMA fight and come, you know, at a close distance and you might get taken down. So Henry definitely changed up the game a little bit and has different setups than just your traditional MMA stand-up coach. You know, he's not fancy. He's not, you know, not fancy, not flashy. He's just traditional. He's the normal guy. Our combinations are so simple, and it's basic. And, you know, that's what I like. It's just basic and it's simple and it's not hard to learn. But the basic stuff is what works. All this new stuff that's fancy and all that, it's a waste of time to me now. I know that now since I've gotten experience in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I got to spend some time with Kenny Monday early in my career when he was still training and still wrestling. And he actually told me the same thing. Every wrestler has basically a double, a high crotch, and a single leg for takedowns. And that's all they have. They know how to teach everything that's out there. But when you get to the world level, the highest level, it's very basic. You look at these Dutch kickboxers, it's very basic. They're not doing anything fancy or anything weird. They're throwing a 1-2-3 combination, but the combination, they're so good at it, you can't stop them.
You can't. Peter Arts is the most basic guy you can come across.
Yeah.
His style is nothing fancy. You don't see him doing all these spinning back kicks,
Mm.
in any of that. You know what I mean? And look how far Peter went. You know what I mean? And even when you train with Tyrone, you train with him or you watch him fight, everything is basic, but it's hard and it's fast and it's powerful and it's to the point. It's nothing like, you know, throw a 3-punch combination, then move left and then do this and do that and then move right and do that and do this. Is 3-punch combination and do your kick. Whatever kick you have set up off of that 3-punch combination. It's not 10 things in one move.
Right. Yeah. It's very simple, and that's really where MMA needs to come back to. Right now, everyone's trying to get fancy with these knockout front kicks, and yes, some guys can get away with it. Some guys are going to make it work. Some guys are going to do a spinning back kick and catch you in the liver and knock you out. But it's not for everybody. And a lot of these younger guys are trying to step into the game, doing all these fancy tricks, and it just isn't right for their body type. They're going to get caught and get hurt.
Exactly. Like you say, some people can adjust to it and some people can't. Like to me, the guy who does one of the spinning back kicks the best is Edson Barboza.
Yeah, yeah.
His spinning back kick is phenomenal, and Vitor's spinning back kick is phenomenal too. But that's not for me. You know what I mean? And it's not made for me. It's not made for a lot of people. Tyrone is a world champion kickboxing, but you don't see him doing it.
Now,
that's just his thing.
You talked about Vitor Belfort, and there has been some rumblings now. He's getting ready to fight Chris Weidman. And I just want to know, how much of a distraction is his TRT usage becoming for the Blackzilians as a whole? Because a lot of it is, anytime that Vitor wins, it's in Brazil, they're trying to protect him. And that reflects on the Blackzilians, because that's where he's training. Now he's getting ready to fight Weidman, more likely it's going to be in Las Vegas. Is his TRT exemption becoming a distraction in the room as much as we think it's becoming a distraction in the media for the fight coming up? Because that's all we're going to talk about. Once the fight is signed, they got the exact date. That's all we're gonna ride on, because that's the sensationalism of media.
I mean, that's going to be a talk from here on out with the TRT. Honestly, it's not a distraction to us. We don't think about what the media says. We don't think about anything except for training and stuff like that. Do we know Vitor takes TRT? He admits he takes TRT or whatever. I don't pay attention to it. I'm like, you are who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't distract us. Vitor comes in there. When he's in there, he's training hard. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. He does his thing. Do I think the TRT is going to phase him since, it's in Vegas? I don't know. I hope it doesn't. That's my teammate. I wish him the best. You know what I mean? In Brazil, everybody was saying that, Vitor has an advantage because it's in Brazil and they don't test or something like that in Brazil.
Yeah, that's
Man, I have no idea how they do it. When I was in Brazil, they tested me. So
what happens, there's no commission in Brazil. There's a commission now, but before they didn't have a commission. And Mark Ratner, who works for the UFC, used to be the commissioner for Nevada, actually controls the commission. So the testing that they were doing is the same testing that they did in Nevada. So they're saying that he wouldn't pass if he was in Nevada. He just has a bunch more steps he has to go through to be able to use TRT because he failed the steroid test earlier in Nevada. That's it. He would have passed down in Nevada underneath the same regulations because they use the exact same testing. It's just that as fans and media, we don't say that. We just kind of run around and try to have this sensationalism. Then you get a guy like Vitor who admits he's on TRT, and it's completely legal. He does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah,
it's totally
exactly.
fine. And then Weidman, who's against it and doesn't do it, it's the game that's going to get played. I was just wondering if it was a distraction to you guys as you're trying to get ready for fights.
Not at all. Not at all. Nobody ever thinks about it. You know what I mean? We see Vitor, and then he's training hard, and he does jiu-jitsu. He'll do wrestling. He'll do, boxing, with our trainer, what's his name, Pedro Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pedro trained Miguel Cotto. He has like 2 world champs or something like that now. Vitor is in there, man. He does his thing, but he doesn't cause a distraction. None of this TRT stuff causes a distraction with us. I see Vitor, all I think is that's a living legend in my gym that's willing to help everybody out. Not this is a living legend that's on TRT, and the media is going to say something about it. I don't personally think anything about it.
Let's talk about another living legend that's in your gym, Kenny Monday. What's it like wrestling with that cat?
Kenny still has it. He still has it. He's he's still learning,
Mm-hmm.
which is great for us because that means he's adjusting his style of wrestling to us. We can be in there doing stand up, but I see Kenny in the corner, going over what we were doing after Henry taught us, and he's trying to find out what's a good setup for a takedown off of what Henry taught us. So not Henry, but Kenny's adjusting, and he's actually a good coach. He's taught me a couple of things already. And, once you're a wrestler, you don't feel like you know everything, but you feel like you know enough where you can get by.
Yeah.
But Kenny's taught me some stuff, and I'm like, well, that actually works. And it's basic, simple stuff once again.
Like I said, Kenny told me the exact same thing that you said about Henry. That's just like it's basic. And he's like, look, you hit a high crotch, you switch to a double. You hit a single, you switch to a double, you get a takedown. It's very simple.
Exactly. And it's just simple. Can't be any simpler than that.
Yeah.
But Kenny's doing his thing. He pushes us doing wrestling. We had wrestling today, and we have another guy. I want to say his name is Terrell.
Oh yeah, I saw. I stalked. I mean, follow Ryan Loco on Instagram, and he was putting photos up. And Rashad Evans' comment was, he's lucky I didn't have wrestling shoes on. I guess he's having a fit. But yeah, it's guys like that. You get wrestlers that come in on wrestling day, even though it's wrestling for MMA. It's a whole different world. You learn so much more about how wrestling really is. It's like sparring with a professional boxer during sparring day. You learn so much more about angles and what happens and what am I really in danger in this position, and then think about it with the big 16-ounce gloves of sparring practice to the 5-ounce gloves you're wearing during a fight. You're like, oh yeah, I'm wide open. I'm gonna get killed here. It changes your game up. So having a guy like Kenny in the room and the other guys he brings in is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, what's his name? Terrell Fortune, I think that's his name.
Yep.
He's I don't know much about him, but I wrestled with him a little bit today. He's a big guy. I think he's about 6 foot, but he's a solid 250. His legs are like a Mack truck, huge. But I think he's number 2 for the U.S. right now in freestyle.
Yeah.
He doesn't know MMA wrestling and traditional, folk style wrestling, freestyle, Greco, but it still helps because his movement is so much different than ours. I didn't even try and take him down. I just got up under him just to see what his movement was going to be like, and it threw me completely off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that, to me, that was good because it's something different to look for, and that's going to be a big help for me. That's going to be a big help for Rashad because Rashad has his fight against Daniel Cormier.
Yep.
So, with Kenny and Terrell in there, I think it's great. It's great for everybody.
Let's change gears a little bit. Let's talk about Mike Kyle. He's your opponent coming up here in World Series of Fighting 8 on January 18th. Mike's a brawler. He's going to stand in front of you and throw a bunch of punches and try to knock you down. Hopefully he doesn't get tired before you knock him down. That's kind of how he fights, how he plays his game. Do you see this fight going any other way than both you guys staying in front of each other and swinging for the fences?
I honestly, I just see this as just a regular mixed martial arts fight. Mike is a tough fighter. He's a striker, of course. Do I think he sticks to his game plan that much when it comes down to fighting? I really don't see it. You know what I mean? Because Mike has his way of doing things too, from what I've seen in the fights. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you can't always judge a guy off of his last fight. You have to make adjustments to that person and what you assume that he's going to do. Do I think Mike is going to sit there and try and trade punches with me? I think he will try and exchange punches with me. Do I think that's a good part on his behalf? No. Is it a smart part on my behalf? I take my chances, when it comes down to exchanging, with him any day, but I will take him down if I have to. I think my wrestling is better than his. I think my striking is better than his. But at the end of the day, he's a fighter. He's still dangerous. All it takes is an inch of a glove to knock somebody out because they're so little, and you can just hit somebody right on the spot. I don't take him for granted. I think Mike is still going to come and bring his A game to the fight no matter what.
From a fan standpoint, it's going to be a great fight because both you guys are going to start. There's no feeling out process for either of you guys. You stand there, get right in the center, start swinging. And from a fan standpoint, that first round is going to be very exciting for us because anything could happen. Because, like you said, it's just that little 1 inch of the glove. It could be something that could put you down. And these guys, and either one of you can catch it at any time. So it's a question of, for us, who's going to get hurt and knocked down first. Then once the takedowns start, that's when everything changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chess match, really, when it comes down to MMA. I know Mike can put me away. Mike knows that I can put him away. So I think we're going to, for sure, have that mutual respect for each other as mixed martial artists and as knockout artists. But, you know, even when you know you don't have a chance, you have to take a chance.
Anthony, last question before I let you out of here. I know it's late, and I know you want to get to bed and get to, rest and relaxing because you got a big fight coming up. 2014, it's January. Everybody and their brother's talking about, my New Year's resolution. I'm going to be the best fighter, have the belt, be the richest fighter. Like, this is what fighters all are about. I don't care about your New Year's resolution. I want to know the one significant thing that happened to you in 2013 that has propelled you and made you the man that you're going to be now coming into 2014. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be fight related. I've had a couple of guys tell me, it was getting a significant other. I've had other people, some other fighters told me is because they got the burden of going through bankruptcy and getting rid of their house and all their debt that took the weight off their shoulders. So now when they go into practice, all they think about is training. It can be anything at all that happened in your life in 2013. But the one significant thing that's kind of like, yeah, that's the thing that's going to make me be the better man that you guys are going to see in 2014.
I think the one thing that's, that made me a better person and that changed me around for 2013 to make me a better person now was just ignoring the BS. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people out there that want to see you fail and want to put you down and put people that are close to you down. When you have somebody that's close to you and the BS bothers them, so that means it bothers you. It affects you too. So I think I've learned now just to keep happy, positive vibes around you now instead of listening to the BS and letting it get to you. Because
have you had to get rid of some friends that were kind of bringing too much BS into your life? Like, did you have to cut some barnacles off that were just like, this guy's a friend or this girl's a friend, but all she brings in is negative to my life. I got to get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, I did that. And a true friend when you have one. And even sometimes you make a mistake and you think, okay, this person or that person is a true friend, but something happens and you get to see their true colors. Yeah. So I mean, in 2013, I learned that from a couple of people, and I don't hate them for it, and I don't have anything against them, but it just made me a wiser person.
They are who they are. They're going to act the way that they act. You just have to do it with somebody else. They can't be with me.
Exactly. I don't have time for it. I want 2014. I'm going to make 2014 a successful year and a happy year for me. I'm not really worried about what anybody has to say. Not really worried about what the next guy's going to do. I'm just enjoying myself now.
And the easiest way to do that is get a decisive victory over Mike Kyle in the
exactly.
2014. So
hopefully it's a knockout.
We like it. It. That's Anthony Johnson. He's getting ready to fight Mike Kyle, World Series of Fighting number 8, January 18th. You're going to see it on NBC Sport. Anthony, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, man. Thank you, brother.